Friday night against Niagara. Their 25th straight against a non-conference team at the Peak. Today, they're back at the Oakland Zoo to take on the Samford Bulldogs from the Southern Conference. ACC basketball from Pittsburgh is next. You to the Peterson Event Center, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Panthers taking the court, taking on the Samford Bulldogs, who have made the trip from Birmingham, Alabama to come to the Steel City. Our matchup today in the ACC, those Samford Bulldogs out of the Southern Conference taking on the Pittsburgh Panthers from the ACC. It is great to have you with us for our game this afternoon. Tom Wormy along with Dan Bonner. And Dan, simply put, this Pittsburgh program over the last 5 years, one of the best in the entire country. It has amassed 346 wins and multiple trips to the NCAA tournament.
This is a program that for the last 16 years really has been one of the top programs in the country, and you don't achieve that unless you have guys who can comfortably and successfully slide into new positions. So even though the Panthers are missing their top 2 scorers from last year, they have other weapons, one of whom is Jamal Artis. Artis is a guy who can shoot the ball from 3. He can drive the ball to the basket, and Artis also can play on the inside. One of the key cogs in the machine, as you can see, the Panthers had 4 guys in double figures against Niagara. So even though they're missing some parts, they always have guys who can fill new roles.
Yeah, in contrast to Pittsburgh, this Samford program, almost a do-over for them, a complete renewal, and it starts at the very top with its head coach, Scott Padgett, in his first year as the head coach, the former Kentucky Wildcat star.
Not only his first year as a head coach, but he wants to implement what he calls a 90-mile-per-hour style. And he's going to do it with a very inexperienced squad. Tyler Hood on the left of your screen is one of only 2 players who's even been with the program for 2 years. And Kristen Cunningham, the freshman point guard, had a good game the other night. He's going to have to play well.
All right, Dan, just moments away from tip-off here in Pittsburgh. The Bulldogs and the Panthers, their first ever meeting on the basketball court. We'll come back to Pittsburgh in just a moment with the lineups and the tip. Samford and Pitt.
ACC basketball is sponsored by Toyota and Synovus, the bank of here.
Back in Pittsburgh on a chilly afternoon of the first Sunday of the college basketball season. Pittsburgh and Samford from the Peterson Event Center. And the visiting Samford Bulldogs and their starting lineup: Kristen Cunningham, Darius Jones-Gibson, Brandon Heyman, Tyler Hood, and Michael Bradley at center for Samford. The head coach is Scott Padgett. He's in his first season after being an assistant at Samford for the last 2 years. Also an assistant at Manhattan College. And they lost their first game of the season at Purdue on Friday. Starting lineup for the Pittsburgh Panthers. James Robinson, so careful with the basketball. 4.1 assists last season. He makes his 70th start in a Pittsburgh Panther uniform today. And the head coach is Jamie Dixon. He's in his 12th year. 289 wins. Dan, that's the second most in school history at Pittsburgh. His first game as a head coach against Samford. Time for the Ford Keys to the game with Dan Bonner.
It's going to be very interesting. We mentioned that Samford wants to play an up-and-down style, so I think one of the big things in this game, the pace of play. Can Samford successfully execute what they want to do, which is create extra opportunities? And then the inside game. Pitt can be dominant in there. We'll see how it plays out.
Ready for the opening tap. Pitt in the white, Samford in the blue, and the opening tap is controlled by the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Now, Samford opens up in the man-to-man defense, and they really like to get after you with some pressure and traps. They want to force some turnovers so they can get their transition game in gear.
Pittsburgh with a win on Friday night here at the Peterson Event Center against Niagara, 78-45. They shot 53% from the floor in the opening game. Heyman picks up his first personal for Samford. Reset of the shot clock for Pittsburgh. Mike Eads, Clarence Armstrong, and Gary Prager are officials for this afternoon's game. The Southern Conference against the ACC.
And once again this season, Tom, the officials are really going to try to emphasize cutting down on contact, particularly on the ball, on the perimeter. So you're going to have to be aggressive if you're the Bulldogs from Samford without fouling. And that's exactly what we're talking about. You've got to be able to move your feet. You cannot, even if you don't put your hands in there, you cannot disrupt the player's movement, his rhythm, his balance, even if you're using your body.
Jones Gibson picked up his first for Samford. And the shot clock resets again for Pittsburgh on its opening possession. Try to go backdoor, slapped out of bounds. It remains with the Panthers.
That's going to be a hard pass for Ochibo to make because he's not really a threat to drive the ball from the perimeter.
Joseph Ochibo from Nigeria and a junior. The JC transfer for Pittsburgh. Young tried to make his way to the rim. I don't believe they're going to score the basket, but there was a whistle prior to the shot.
This is another point of emphasis for officials to make sure they don't give too many and-one opportunities when they're not merited. The foul in that particular situation occurred before the shooter started the upward motion, so that counts as being on the floor. Pitt hadn't scored yet, but they've racked up 3 fouls against Samford.
All the action so far at this end of the court.
If this was a Penguins game, you say they were forechecking very well.
Ochibo misses. Kept alive by the Panthers. Artis just inside the arc. And that'll go against Pittsburgh.
Young that time got called for pushing off, and this is an area where the Panthers are traditionally very good in that rebound margin. They do a nice job not only on their defensive boards, but going to get their misses on the offensive end.
Told you about the success of this Panther program. 10 times Jamie Dixon has taken them to the NCAA tournament. In fact, they've been 12 of the last 13 years as that ball will stay with Samford.
He's done it. He and his staff have done a super job. And they do it with a particular type of player. This isn't the kind of place where they traditionally recruit McDonald's All-Americans. They bring guys in, they develop them. Obviously very talented players, but they develop them, and guys maybe start out not being big contributors as freshmen and sophomores, but once they get rolling a little bit, Lamar Patterson, their graduated leading scorer from last year, is a perfect example.
Michael Bradley has the first points of the game for Samford.
And when Samford is able to score, they can set this full court pressure. And they're not just trying to make Pitt play fast. They're trying to steal the ball.
Samford on the run. Knocked away and out of bounds, and it will stay with the Bulldogs.
And one of the things that you risk when you play this kind of style, or when you want to play this kind of style, your guys every once in a while are going to throw it out the door trying to push it up the court. Very nearly happened that time.
Over the top of the backboard, and that will be Panther basketball.
I think the Bulldogs are going to have a tough time trying to post up against the size possessed by the Panthers.
You will hear that constant soundtrack throughout the game. One of the best student sections in all of the nation resides here in Pittsburgh. That foul against Cunningham is first, and the fourth against the Bulldogs. And they sit right behind us, Dan, the Oakland Zoo, because this is the Oakland neighborhood of Pittsburgh, and you'll hear them throughout the ballgame. Very vocal. So far, not much to cheer about. Turnover, Samford. Bradley tried to work the interior back to Pittsburgh, and here comes Robinson. Trying to go right down Broadway in the kick. Jones knocks it down.
See, I think that's what Samford has to be able to do. You can't pass up open perimeter shots once you make the defense collapse. Really nice job by Robinson.
Ochibo with the block, and he recovered the basketball. Tried to make the pass and dragged the pivot foot.
Very nice job by Darius Jones-Gibson to force that.
It'll be Samford basketball, 16:52 to go in our first half of action. This Pittsburgh program earned the #1 seed, one of the #1 seeds at the NCAA tournament in both 2009 and 2011. Last year lost in the third round, which is the old second round at the NCAA tournament because you have your first four. They lost to the #1 overall seed Florida in that third round. This is Hood for three. Bulldogs keep it alive. In traffic, there's a whistle and a foul against the Panthers. Jones going to the floor and absorbing the contact.
And since we're early in the season, let's just comment that the officials have been told to change the way they call that play a little bit differently. Last year, you had to be in position at the point that the shooters started upward with the ball. This year, you don't have to be in position until the guy leaves his feet. That time, it looked to me as if the Pitt player was standing in the restricted area, Chris Jones. And if your feet are on or in or above that restricted area, it's an automatic blocking foul.
Bradley's come out of the game for Samford. Jamal Shabazz, number 5, has entered in for the Bulldogs in blue. Artis. Randall couldn't finish.
Boy, you got to dunk that one.
Samford losing on the road Friday at Purdue, 80-40. A preliminary game in the Maui Invitational, as is this game as well. Pittsburgh will make that trip late next week.
What a thrill for Samford. They get to play in the Maui Invitational,
Yeah.
And their sites are West Lafayette, Indiana, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
No surfboards required at those locations. Artis with some nice dribbling, couldn't complete the play. His teammates will help him out. Sheldon Jeter, the sophomore.
Jeter is really an athletic guy. He can shoot a little bit from the perimeter, but he's very dangerous around the basket.
Hood the miss.
And Samford's style relies heavily on making the three, so they're going to have to get some of those.
Robinson has his first points of the afternoon. The junior guard from Mitchellville, Maryland.
And he's a hard guy to pressure. You can have all the pressure style you want, but if James Robinson's the guy you're trying to steal the ball from, you might be in for a long night.
Robinson coming off an 8.7 assist performance against Niagara on Friday.
Now, Robinson's one of those guys. He can dominate a game even if he never scores any points.
Working the baseline.
Jones missed that shot, and I think for Pitt to have a tremendous amount of success this year, Jones is going to have to knock those down. He came in last year with the reputation as a shooter. He didn't really shoot all that well.
So we've got a timeout on the court. Pittsburgh with some great work on the boards. Sheldon there.
Artis drives the ball to the basket and forces the defense to come, and then he's able to get the rebound. Jeter is, and now Robinson going to the basket. He doesn't need any help because that's a very difficult shot under pressure, and he gets it to go. Now that was a timeout called by Samford. I think they were worried about losing the ball. And we talked about the fact that the Pitt Panthers, they returned 3 starters. Well, one of the starters that they return is Cameron Wright. And Wright, at this particular point in time, is not out there starting. In fact, he's not on the court at all. There he is right there. He had a foot injury, and he's standing over there with a boot on his foot. And he's out 10 weeks. Now, I actually was able to talk to him for an extended period of time yesterday. He told me yesterday he thinks he can play right now, but that everybody's being cautious, and he's got about 2 more weeks to go, and that'll get to that 10-week period. It's been very interesting. Tim Belts, the strength and conditioning coach for the Pitt Panthers, was telling me about all the things that he was doing to put right through. A lot of it in the swimming pool, that they are able to do an awful lot of work, not only cardio work, but core work in the swimming pool. And he mentioned, I don't know what kind of an assessment this is, but Tim Belts told me that Cameron Wright was actually a very good swimmer for a basketball player.
Okay. Sounds like a compliment. Followed by Bradley. Got up over everybody, and now he's got 4. Dan, you can certainly understand the anxious feelings for Cameron Wright. He is a senior on this team from Cleveland, Ohio, who averaged double figures in points a season ago with 10.5. Robinson missed from just inside the free throw line.
This is what Samford wants to do. Force the missed shot, get the rebound, push it down the court. Now, they would rather not set up in their half-court offense. They would rather be able to push it down and get a quick basket in transition. But they'll take that.
Shabazz with his first basket. The Samford team only shot 23% in its loss at Purdue on Friday, albeit a very solid and competitive Purdue program out of the Big Ten. So we'll step aside for a moment. Tight early on. Jamie Dixon's team trailing by 1 to Samford.
ACC basketball is sponsored by the official corporate champions of the ACC. AT&T, Geico, Ruby Tuesday, and New York Life Insurance Company.
Back to Pittsburgh on a Sunday afternoon. At a 1-point lead for Samford. Dan, they've got about 30 points missing from last year's team between Patterson and Zana for the Panthers.
Now, Patterson, of course, one of the outstanding players in Pitt history, and Talib Zana, what a solid presence on the inside he was. Now, those are the two leading scorers. The third leading scorer was Cameron Wright, and we just showed you him on the bench. The fourth leading scorer was Deron Johnson, and Johnson is going to spend the entire season on the bench, a suspension for as yet undisclosed reasons. And this was a young man who was playing really, really well last year when he tore his ACL. Worked very, very hard to rehab it, but now he has been suspended for the entire season. So even though they've got a veteran group of players, the Panthers are trying to fill some holes right at the moment.
Pittsburgh so far 3 of 10 from the floor. They have missed their only 3-point attempt.
Samford has shown zone on a couple of possessions in his zone now.
Sheldon Jeter made his move to the basket and was fouled.
Nice patience on the part of the Panthers. They have a reputation of being a very solid passing team, and Sheldon Jeter does a great job getting position inside, making himself available. Nice catch, taking it hard to the basket. Jeter is a guy that they think can be a very, very good player.
Shabazz picked up the foul for Samford. Sheldon Jeter is a sophomore. Scott Padgett getting his first taste of being a head coach after such a successful career as a player at Kentucky. Played on that '98 national championship team, which defeated Utah in the title game. Now the officials want to check on something at the scorer's table.
And that's the replay system that we have in the ACC. Mike Eads was not over there working on his fantasy football stuff.
Like you were before the game, Dan. You know, it's basketball season, Dan. It's also college football season and pro season, but especially around here, they've got a Monday night game on the road to Tennessee.
Everybody in this neck of the woods is well aware of that.
Yes, they are.
Panthers, of course, they've been in man-to-man the whole time. That is the basic defense.
Robinson will push it up.
Samford stays in the zone.
Newkirk with the ball right now has come in for the Panthers. Finds Young. Couple of pump fakes, very effective.
Once again, if you allow penetration with the dribble from the top of that zone, it's hard to defend inside, particularly when you have people like Michael Young who are so effective with their backs to the basket.
Shot clock to 10. Taken by Johnson.
Bradley kept that one alive. He's done a nice job for Samford, being very active on the inside. Bradley, of course, started his career at UConn.
Bradley 6'10" and a senior from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Shabazz. Nifty Dan.
Now, Shabazz is a very interesting player. He's very versatile. He can shoot the three, but as you can clearly see, he can drive the ball to the basket. So he's a guy you got to defend all over the court.
7 points and 3 rebounds against Purdue for Shabazz on Friday. And the losing effort for the Bulldogs, who are playing Pitt tough in the early going. 11:20 to go in the first half. Easy rebound for Young, who had the position.
Well, Ichinonya, he took that shot and wasn't anywhere close. Maybe he should get a little bit closer to the basket.
Nice connection there as Young provides the finish, and he's got 4.
Boy, he can really catch it inside, and he knows what to do with it once he catches it in there. Again, really good penetration of the zone defense by the Pitt backcourt.
Bradley trying to direct some traffic. Pittsburgh with the 2-point lead. So tough here at the Peterson Event Center. 1-11-3 against non-conference opponents, with the shot clock running down. Shabazz can't beat it over the top of the backboard. We'll take a timeout.
And we talked about the fact that Michael Young, when he gets the ball inside, he knows how to operate. Penetration of the zone, he collects himself and just powers it to the goal. And then once again, just a big step to the basket. Pitt, it's interesting, they lead by 2.
Next week on ACC All Access, we profile Miami running back Duke Johnson, who's on the verge of leaving his legacy at the U. That's next week on ACC All Access. Check your local listings. For the game Miami played last night in a losing effort to Florida State, we go right to the preseason bowl, Dan. Pittsburgh at number 6.
Yeah, and given the fact that everybody's talking about Duke, North Carolina, Louisville, and Virginia as being among the top 10 teams in the country, number 6 on that list isn't too bad, and I think that's a sign of respect for this Pitt basketball program, since they did lose their 2 leading scorers from a year ago.
Syracuse also ranked in that top 25 to start the season in college basketball.
And again, I think that's a matter of respect, too, because Syracuse with some significant losses, but like Pittsburgh, they always seem to be able to have guys successfully assume new roles, or not new roles necessarily, but more prominent roles.
Shot clock to 10 for the Panthers.
And Samford has gone back into the man-to-man, trying to switch things up here against Pitt.
Difficult shot from Newport, knocked around and taken by Bradley. He's played a superb game thus far for the Bulldogs.
Very good defensive effort so far by Samford.
Bulldogs have only shot 25%, but hanging in there. Bradley misses in close, but we had a whistle. And a foul against the Panthers.
That foul was actually called against Chris Jones, I think. He was not the primary defender. He was coming in to help out, and he picked up the foul.
Bradley at the line, and his numbers from the game at Purdue on Friday to open the season for this Bulldog team. Robinson comes back in for Pittsburgh. Does have one basket to his credit so far. Bradley, who shot 74% from the line last year for the Bulldogs out of the Southern Conference.
He's a good free throw shooter who I think needs to be more aggressive on the inside to be able to attempt more free throws. He only attempted 27 last year. You have a big guy who can shoot at almost 75%. You'd like him to shoot a few more.
Pittsburgh runs it right back up the court. Artis from close range and his first points of the game. 2-point lead for the Panthers. Just over 9 minutes to go in the first half. Tom Worley, Dan Bonner. So glad that you have joined us for ACC basketball on a Sunday afternoon. Blocked inside. That was Johnson. Knocked around. Hood was right there to lay it in.
Well, and Echionia, he has come off the bench and been very aggressive. He drove the ball to the basket that time, caused the defense to collapse and enabled Samford to get the offensive rebound basket.
Tyler Hood is the senior for Samford, who's been through 3 coaches, 8 assistant coaches, and multiple teammates, as the turnover for the Samford program has increased the last few years, culminating with Scott Padgett taking over as the head coach, and the Bulldogs will get a couple of free throws.
Jamie Dixon knows his team has to get back effectively on defense, but he has to be pleased with the way that they operate against the pressure right there. A very nice pass by Cameron Johnson. And Jamel Artis, he doesn't try to take the ball to the basket and risk the charge. He pulls up and shoots the little jump shot.
Evan Taylor has come in for Samford.
And Scott Padgett is going to be running guys in off the bench. If you're going to play the style he wants to play, you have to keep fresh bodies in the game because you need you guys to be playing hard every single second they're on the court.
Robinson. Foul is against Robinson as he tried to fake the pass and take it aggressively to the rim, Dan.
This is a good play by Bradley because Bradley does not go for the fake. He stands there and waits for Robinson. That fake got rid of Hood, but Bradley was standing there waiting. And Robinson, that's something you don't really see him do that much of. He rarely makes mistakes when he's penetrating into the lane. So Bradley going out for a breather. He had a pretty good stint when his line was in the game.
Bradley leaves with 6 points. Samford up by 2. Cunningham. Jones, Gibson. Shabazz trying to force it up, but it was blocked by Cameron Johnson.
Lots of times on those offensive rebounds, it's a great time to pitch it out for a 3.
Ochibo tried to save it for Pittsburgh. Johnson made the play at the defensive end, could not convert on the shot on the offensive end, and it's a 2-point lead for Samford. Back in Pittsburgh, which is just a few miles away from the Hawaiian Islands, this game technically part of the Maui Invitational.
Well, and you can see the coaches are enjoying themselves. And Scott Padgett was able to talk to him a little bit before the game. He's very excited about this head coaching opportunity. Obviously a tremendous basketball background, and he's really looking forward to the challenge.
That's a three-pointer from Hood out of the corner.
And that'll make any coach more optimistic about the challenges he faces if your guys can make threes. And that's going to be a big part of this Samford attack. They're going to have to make some three-point shots.
Samford shot 33% from beyond the arc a season ago. They went 13 and 20 in the Southern Conference, 6 and 10 conference play.
Yeah, but last year their style was a walk it up, move the ball around, run some clock, look for opportunities. And Scott Padgett is trying to do something totally different with his team from a coaching philosophy.
Newkirk dribbled into trouble on the baseline. Taylor gave it off. Jones-Gibson stumbles down and a whistle. It'll just be out of bounds and remain with the Samford Bulldogs.
Now, they didn't finish the play, but that's exactly the way Samford wants to play. They want to create a turnover on that one end and push the ball quickly up the court to get an easy shot on the other. That was not exactly an easy shot. Ochebo is going to get called for the foul. See, one of the things that you have to understand, and the Samford team, not only do they have a lot of new guys that are playing an entirely different style, the decision-making is going to be so critically important. You have to decide when to try to take it to the goal, when to pull up and shoot a jump shot. And those are things that the Bulldogs will just learn as they go on.
8 new players on the roster and a brand-new head coach who had been an assistant 2 years prior with this Samford program in Scott Padgett. Hood missed. Cameron Johnson fights for the rebound.
Now, Pitt doesn't mind pushing the ball up the court either.
Young drew a double. Newkirk, that's a three.
Boy, that's some great ball movement. And Newkirk really created a wide open shot for himself by faking the pass. The defense drifted away from him. Boy, that's a nice play.
First three of the game for Pittsburgh. And the Panthers draw to within 2. Newkirk, race to the hoop, lets the defender fly by and lays it in. He's got the last 5 for Pittsburgh.
Newkirk is a very exciting talent. He can really get up and down the court.
Sophomore from Raleigh, North Carolina. Difficult shot from Evan Taylor. Another 3. Not this time for Newkirk. Cunningham had it knocked away and out of bounds.
The Pitt Panthers are an excellent passing team, and what you want to watch here, as the ball goes inside, the defense will step down, and then when the ball comes back outside, watch the quick ball movement, and right at the end of the play, the ball goes to Robinson to Newkirk. Newkirk fakes the pass to the corner, the defense slides to the corner, he's all alone, and he knocks it down. That is just an excellent play. Jamie Dixon's teams have always been noted, however, for their ability to pass the ball and play together.
Newkirk was solid from beyond the arc a season ago. 43%. He made 23 of 53 and had 12 points against Niagara in the win on Friday here at Peterson Event Center.
And as quick as Newkirk is and as capable as he is of driving to the basket, he's a hard guy to guard out there on the perimeter if he's going to shoot the three.
Robinson the steal. Artis.
Scott Padgett, he wants to create steals. He doesn't want his guys to lose the ball. This is just a bad pass. And watch Robinson here. Pitches the ball ahead at the perfect time to allow Artis to take advantage of the fact that the defender was off balance and just go right to the goal. That was an excellent pass and an excellent moving transition by Jamel Artis.
That free throw by Cunningham ends a 7-0 run. Pittsburgh Panthers. Gerald Smith enters for Samford. Evan Taylor will have a seat. Ochibo goes back to the bench for Pittsburgh. Michael Young, who has 4 points so far. Newkirk leads the way with 5 for Pittsburgh. Couple of free throws for Cunningham.
And what you see the Panthers doing here a little bit in the first half is playing with us. When you got guys like that, it doesn't matter. Great passing again.
Michael Young, and now he's got 6.
But Robinson just has such a great feel for when to push and when to hold up.
Pittsburgh up by 2 as we go back and forth with his first half of action. Just over 3.5 minutes to go. Robinson the outlet. Newkirk up top to Jeter.
Pitt is a team that can play in transition. This is an excellent pass by Robinson that pitches the ball ahead in the perfect spot. Now here's Newkirk. We saw his ability to shoot the ball. This is just a perfect pass, and you can't make those kind of passes if your big guys don't run. So first Young and then Jeter really getting quickly down the court.
Scott Padgett wisely calling a timeout as this burst in the late first half by Pittsburgh.
Tom, you make a good point. Samford has done a nice job hanging in the game, mostly with some pretty solid half-court defensive play in the first half. And what has gotten them in trouble here in this latest stretch is their offensive execution has been very poor, and that has allowed Pitt the opportunity to get out and get easy baskets on the run.
Pittsburgh has made 5 of its last 6 field goals.
Well, we
includes a couple of dunks in there.
We just showed you the kind of field goals they've been getting.
Right.
Wide open threes and dunks. It's hard to miss those.
Those are good ones. Very high percentage. Cunningham nearly lost it trying to work off of that Bradley screen.
There's Nnamdi and Ichionia again. That's his first basket. But he has been very aggressive trying to drive the ball to the basket in traffic.
And Ichionia is a sophomore from Springfield, Virginia. There's a timeout on the court. Samford and Pittsburgh putting on a show in the first half here from the Peterson Event Center. Pittsburgh with a 2-point lead over Samford. Josh Newkirk with 5 points. That includes a 3-pointer. And it's time for today's Synovus player to watch. Synovus, the bank of here. And it's Pittsburgh's Josh Newkirk from Raleigh, North Carolina.
You can see a very smart young man and a very modern young man committed, the first basketball player to commit on Twitter. Very active so far in this game. You can see with the fake, we mentioned he's an outstanding three-point shooter, particularly when he has that much room. He can really get the ball to the basket in transition. We've seen his passing ability. He is a very solid player.
It's another pass in tight quarters by Newkirk, saved by Young.
Much better job that time by the Bulldog defense to collapse and force the pass back out.
Shot clock to 5. Robinson had it blocked out of bounds. Evan Taylor, and there's 1 second on the shot clock.
Got to catch it and shoot it immediately. He's just making sure there are any difficulties, since everybody knows that.
Artis.
That's how you do it. Run the shot clock, throw the ball out of bounds, then get it back in and knock down a 3.
7 points for Jamel Artis, the sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland. And the second 3 of the game for the Pittsburgh Panthers. Newkirk has the other 3 as Hood drives, and we've got a whistle.
This is a really nice job by Artis. He's all alone, but he's got to catch it and shoot it immediately, and he does. The clock doesn't start until he catches the ball, and he let that one fly immediately.
You know, Artis only made 8 threes all season last year, but that one beating the shot clock with only a second to go on the inbounds play.
He only made 8 of them, but he impressed me last year. He looked comfortable shooting them out there. That wasn't his role to shoot threes. I think this year that's going to be part of his role. And he looks to me as if he's capable of fulfilling that role.
He's also an academic all-conference selection in the ACC. Pittsburgh has 4 of them on the roster. An intelligent group on and off the court for the Panthers. Traveling against Artis and back to Samford.
Another pretty good example of ball movement by the Panthers, though. This smaller lineup with Newkirk and Robinson playing in the backcourt and Jeter playing in that along the front court with Artis and Young is a lineup that gives Pittsburgh an awful lot of quickness. Now they drop back into the 2-3 zone. Quickness and ability to shoot the ball out here on display for the Panthers at the moment.
Hood. Robinson, eyes for Jeter. Pass was on the money. And a foul on the play as Darius Jones-Gibson collided with Jeter.
This is another really good pass by Robinson. See how he waits until Jeter comes open, almost like a quarterback going through his progressions, but he waited until the best possible moment for Jeter and then delivered the ball right on target. Guys love to play with James Robinson because you know what, Tom? If you're open, he'll find you.
Coming up at the half, our Hyundai halftime report. Get you some of the highlights from the first half and the statistics. A lot of those highlights, high-flying dunks by the Panthers. Above the rim has 1 of 2, and now with 6 points. That's coming up on the Hyundai halftime report from Pittsburgh. Panthers by 5. Samford in possession of the basketball. Final 50 seconds of the first half.
Well, Samford was down by 27 at the half in their opening game against Purdue, so they're in much better shape here, although what has gotten them in trouble for the last 5 or 6 minutes has been shot selection more than anything else.
This is the largest lead of the half for the Panthers with just 30 seconds to go, up by 5. Got about a 4 to 5 second difference game and shot clock. Kick out. Artis. Another three.
He seems very comfortable catching it and stepping into that three on the perimeter.
Taylor's shot at the end of the half misses. And Artis with a couple of three balls in the first half and 10 points. The only player in our game to get to double figures in the first 20 minutes. Yes, this game part of the Maui Invitational, but it's a lead for the Panthers at halftime, 31-23. Back to the Steel City after this.
Which car company is...
Welcome to the ESPN3 College Basketball Halftime Report. I'm Kerry Chow. We'll get you to the second half of your game in a moment. But first, time to check out some of the latest news and stories bouncing around college hoops. Let's take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to SEC Chalk Talk. I am your host, Peter Burns. It's about that time, right? Leaves are changing color, getting a little bit brisk outside. You know what that means, right? It's time for some basketball. Coming up on the show, the players take us on the court and show us how they've been looking to improve their games over the summer. And the coaches give us a glimpse of their X's and O's for the year. But you know, if we're talking SEC basketball, it makes sense we start with Kentucky Wildcats, right? You have to do it. All right. As if the Wildcats needed any more help, they got it. Tyler Ulis, Devin Booker, and Carl Anthony Towns all been added on the list of ballers for that Wildcats lineup. Wildcats kick off their season early with an exhibition tour down in the Bahamas. Kentucky went 5-1 on that trip against some more older, more experienced teams. Wildcats are mixing it up. This year they put together the first ever preseason NBA scouting combine, and yet another unique way Coach Cal likes to show off his players. And not a huge shock when you have 9 McDonald's All-Americans on your team. Kentucky picked to finish first in the SEC, and of course are ranked #1 in the nation. Coach Cal, he's got to like the sound of that.
Hey, I'm Darren Horn with Kentucky coach John Calipari. And Cal, you've seen a lot of zone defenses in the last couple of years, especially against underneath out-of-bounds plays.
Yeah, we have, and I've kind of changed, Darren, where I used to try to be the genius running stuff and try to get an easy basket. Now I'm like, we do a little bit of that. Most of our stuff, let's get it in and then figure out how we're going to play.
Explain to us your triangle play where you want to just, as you mentioned, just get the ball in and space the floor.
Well, you put a 7-footer in this spot.
You're going to get it in.
You throw it up to him. So you know he's going to get it. And from there, we'll make different cuts to get great spacing. We may try to throw it back to the 2-man after it's thrown here and maybe try to post. But the reality of it is the most important thing, let's get it in and then figure out how we're going to play.
And then once you get it in, you got to attack the zone using your principles, getting the ball to the middle, good reversal, and sometimes a hard thing with a young team, showing patience.
Yeah, that, and sometimes you need to drive a little bit. You need to take it at the rim. You see us here, Carl got a little bit too low. But again, how are you going to stop this inbounds where the ball was thrown over the top? Well, he went too far to the corner, but then we're there and we're trying to see if we have anything there. Nothing there, now we're playing. And again, I want the top man to really move that ball, look for penetration. Now, he could have shot this. He could have driven the ball. Great pass out of the middle. I wish he would have turned and looked, but that was so open, it was the right play.
And how important is it to get the ball to the middle and be able to have bigs that can pass it out?
Well, the great zone teams will tell you we do not want the ball in the middle defensively. The Syracuse's, in the old days, John Chaney and Temple, the ball will not go to the middle of the floor. So obviously then that means as an offensive coach against the zone, let's make sure we're exploring the middle. If it's open, go there. If they crowd the middle, you're going to get threes.
Absolutely. That was a great kick out there, and excited to watch your team attack zone this year in the SEC. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
He's got some players to do it, huh? 5 of the top 10 preseason All-SEC team members are Wildcats. Don't be fooled, there is some serious talent in this conference that plans on giving the Wildcats a little bit of a run for their money. So much talent in the conference. Let's talk about some of those guys. Bobby Portis of the Arkansas Razorbacks. That kid can play. Only freshman in the nation last year with 50 blocks and 50 assists. LSU's Jordan Mickey, all he did was start 34 games for the Tigers last year. 12 points, 7 boards a game. That's pretty good. Georgia's Charles Mann ready for a big season for the Bulldogs. Second team All-SEC last year. Pretty not bad. But let's start with Michael Frazier from Florida, the sharpshooter who nailed down 44% of his trades last year. Let's see what he's working on this season.
Here with us, we have Michael Frazier, second from the Florida Gators, one of the top three-point shooters in the country. Michael, explain to us, what did you work on this offseason to make you a better player?
Basically, this offseason, I just worked on playing off of what my defender gives me when he's closing out. If I feel like I can get my shot off, if he short closes out, or if he flies past me, I can get into mid-range and pull up or get to the rim.
As the season progressed last year, I mean, teams just simply tried to run you off the line. They face guarded you. They tried to give you different looks. Because of what you worked on over the summer, you're much more confident here. Let's go through some of these looks. And I'm going to give you different defenses here, and you talk us through what we're doing. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fly by to your right. Okay?
So basically, if I catch the ball and I see my defenders trying to run me off the line, then I'll take this one dribble here and then read if another defender's coming up or if he stays back, then I can take this shot here, or if he comes up, make a dump down pass for my teammate. Also, if he short closes out and I still feel like I can still get my shot off here, maybe at a deeper range, then I'll still take that shot because that's a good shot for me if I can get a clean look. Also, if he runs at me and he jumps, if I give him the eye fake, I can go into him, lean into him, and still get a shot off. That's either 3 free throws or a 4-point play.
Okay, we're going to do this live. Our best defensive player, Sean Farner.
And you see right there a prime example of why Michael Frazier is one of the premier scorers in all of college basketball. And if you think you can simply just run him off the three-point line and he's going to struggle, think again. His game has now transformed into an all-around offensive threat. You're looking at one of the difference makers in the SEC this year. From Arkansas, he is Bobby Portis. He can hurt you in a variety of ways. And after a great year last year, he's looking to get even bigger and stronger this year. In fact, physical play has been a focal point for you over the course of the summer. What did you take away from the LeBron James Academy, and why the focus on physical play?
Staying low when I post up. You know, sometimes I kind of raise up higher when I post up. You know, from that, I kind of took something from like some of the better players in the country too.
All right, Tony, walk us through what he's going to be doing.
Rumor has it he grew 1.5 inches, so that's a great thing for the Arkansas fan. Explain to me, when you're on the low block, what are you exactly looking for as far as like when the defender is guarding you?
I'm kind of reading like how he's playing me. If he's playing me like that, like how he is.
You want the ball to be delivered?
I want the ball to be delivered to my hand that's up right now. First, when I get it, I'm a chin check, and then I'm going to go with it. You know, I come right here, and it's an easy bucket.
Physical play, strong scorer, but he's also versatile enough to step up to the free throw line and knock down shots. He's one of the best in the SEC. You're talking about size in the SEC this year. Everybody knows about the size that the LSU Tigers have. Why? It's JM squared. Jarrell Martin and Jordan Mickey here. You guys are roommates. You have great chemistry together. You spent a lot of time at the LeBron James Academy this summer together. How important was your summer in continuing to build this chemistry?
It was real important. You know, we worked real hard during the summer and the preseason, and we just can't wait to get in, get the season going.
Yeah, it was extremely important summer for us. You know, we both went to the camps, did extremely well, learned some new things. So it was a big summer for us. We can't wait to get to the season.
Now, Tony, one of the keys that we saw all last year was the ability for Jordan to cut and move without the ball, and that's something that stood out to you.
Well, yes, there's no Johnny O'Brien, so I think this year there'll be more inside touches for you guys, and also you guys can play off of each other.
All right, let's talk about that first. We're going to have you over here. Jordan, you're going to be on the weak side. Tony's going to enter the ball in down low, and one of the things that's so key is floor spacing. How important is the spacing and the chemistry you guys have in understanding how each other likes to play?
It's really important, for us to have spacing on the floor. That's one of the things we picked up during the summer at the LeBron camp with spacing. It's really important for us to have spacing, and we can play off each other.
And sometimes that means maybe the defensive player has pushed Jarrell off the block. Now, I probably wouldn't be able to do this, but we're going to pretend that I did. All right, Tony's going to enter the ball in down underneath, and you're going to look to turn and face. Go ahead. Tony throws it in, you turn and face. Now, immediately you're looking for your shot, right?
Yeah.
But you also know that he's on the weak side. What's going through your mind as he catches the ball here?
Just seeing where my defender goes. If he goes to help, make a backdoor cut. Yeah, if he doesn't help, I still got to cut through, give my man some space.
All right, let's assume your defensive player cuts. I close out. What do we look at? Go ahead and make it happen.
Looking for Jordan for the cut.
Jordan goes underneath and makes the cut. So offensively, it's about floor spacing. We get the ball outside to Tony. It's also about defense with these two. We talk about length. Now, first player since Shaquille O'Neal to have over 100 blocks in a season for LSU. We know that, but we also know the big fella comes over from the help side. Now, as he posts me up, as I post up and the ball gets entered in here. All right, ball comes in. Now I'm looking to go to work. From the help side, what are you looking to do to come over and get this block in timing-wise?
I'm reading Jordan's reaction. You know, if you end up beating him, spinning baseline, then I'm coming from the backside, blocking it.
So if I come here, he throws it on out, and that's going to be a big problem for every team in the SEC because JM squared, they're good. The Georgia Bulldogs have their sights set on a strong season inside the SEC and a trip to the NCAA tournament. One of the big reasons why, they've got a man up top. No, literally, his name is Charles Mann. Tony?
Charles is one of the best offensive players in the conference, getting to the foul line, but also he could be one of the best players in the country getting to the foul line. Charles, when I'm guarding you and I close out and you go by me, what are you thinking once you get to the big man?
After I go by you, I'm looking for the help defense. And there's always the postman in which I'm looking for the contact and try to finish the bucket as well.
All right, let's do this live.
See a strong finish. That's not only two, he's getting to the free throw line for a potential three-point play, and those points are going to be pivotal for a strong season for the Georgia Bulldogs.
We hope you enjoyed that look around college hoops. That'll do it for the ESPN3 Halftime Report. I'm Kerry Chow. Enjoy the second half.
Just about all
ACC basketball is sponsored by Hardee's Mile High Bacon Thick Burger.
Back at the Peterson Event Center, just moments away from the start of the second half. Pittsburgh going out to its largest lead right at the end of the first half. 31-23, our score for Pittsburgh. Time for today's AT&T trivia question. What former ACC two-sports star was the first to be inducted in both the National Collegiate Baseball and Basketball Halls of Fame? That is your Toyota trivia question.
And there's your answer.
There he is. He's in the building today. That is Mr. Dick Grote. Standout at Duke University in both baseball and basketball, and then here in Pittsburgh as a member of the Pirates.
Well, he's a local. He was born in Wilkinsburg, grew up in this area. And, of course, he was the shortstop for the Pirates on the 1960 World Championship team. And he's been a broadcaster for Pitt basketball for the last 36 years. In fact, he told me he's not making the trip to Maui this year, and that's the first trip he's missed in 36 years for the Panthers. One of the real gentlemen in all of sports.
84 years old and still going strong on the microphone for those Pittsburgh radio broadcasts.
He and Bill Hillgrove.
Bill was working at Chapel Hill yesterday for the football game against North Carolina where the Panthers came out just short. That is Bradley with a baseline jumper.
And that's really a good sign for the Samford Bulldogs. Bradley is not a guy who has ever produced very much offensively. If he can get you 8 or 10 points every night, that's going to make the Bulldogs much, much stronger.
Opening moments of the second half from the Peterson Event Center. Tom Herman, Dan Bonner, and our outstanding ACC basketball production crew with you in Pittsburgh. That is Hood. Wheeling in the lane, taken back by the Bulldogs in a fresh shot clock.
Bradley continuing to do a very, very good job on the inside trying to keep that ball alive.
Bulldogs shooting just 23% in the first half. That'll help the numbers. Hood out of the corner for a three, and that's his second of the game.
With the penetration, the defense comes to help, and Young just reading that play very, very well.
Michael Young now with 8 points.
Now the Panthers are back in that zone defense, and that was a defensive strategy that really caused some problems for the Samford offense at the end of the first half.
Shot clock is inside of 10 for the Bulldogs. Jones, Gibson, long-range three. Bradley again, Dan, on the offensive glass.
Sometimes one of the things you sacrifice when you're playing zone is your block-out ability. You don't block anybody out. Teams are sometimes it's easier for teams sometimes to get offensive rebounds against the zone.
Bradley now with 7 rebounds, tries to operate on the block, and there's contact.
Now he traveled. We've talked about the Panthers' ability in transition, and Tyler Hood is in the middle of the lane trying to stop the ball, and Michael Young, Hood is the man who's trying to guard him. He doesn't stand there and watch. He goes and finds an open space and gets dumped. Great pass. I don't care how good you are as a pressing team. It's hard to press a team that passes the ball like that.
And Young are now the leading scorers for Pittsburgh, each of them with 10 points in the game. On the end line and come back to Pittsburgh.
Say you like to beat a press without putting the ball on the floor. Well, it's hard to react if nobody's ever dribbling the ball. Great job by the Panthers.
Artist looked one way, passed the other way. found Young for the easy two as he gets into double figures. Ochibo. That's his first basket of the afternoon.
Early in the game, the Samford defense was able to force Pittsburgh into some tough shots. Nothing but easy opportunities lately for the Panthers, however.
Once again, that shot clock winds inside of 10 for Samford. Stripped away from Taylor. 3 players to the deck. Held ball situation, and it will favor the Pittsburgh Panthers.
You make a good point, Tom. Samford's game is not running the shot clock down to the end. That's not what they're built to do. They want to get up and down. They want to play quickly. And the Pitt zone has really created some problems for them. And one of the things I think you're seeing here with the Bulldogs is they have some guys who are pretty good athletes, but Jamie Dixon's switch to that zone has really exposed the fact that Samford does not seem to have a lot of standstill shooters, and that has affected them here.
This lead of 9 by Pittsburgh is the largest of the game. Again, they break that pressure, but...
Well, that was another dunk if it was a good pass, but that's Ochibo throwing the ball. And he didn't get a lot of steam on it.
Falls for it here, but traveled on the play.
Derek Randall now going to come in for Joseph Ochibo. And I think that's a combination, Ochibo and Randall, that Pitt is going to try to combine together to get some effective play in that post position, the 5 spot on the court.
Derek Randall into the game number 11 as a senior from Brooklyn, New York for the Panthers. Played in every single game last year. 4 points, 5 rebounds off the bench against Niagara on Friday. A winning effort for Pittsburgh. Just the second game of the season for each of these teams and the first ever meeting between Pittsburgh and Samford. Shabazz with a 3.
You know, for all their struggles, the Bulldogs are only down by 6.
They've hit 2 3-pointers in the second half from Hood and Shabazz. Robinson, Newkirk.
Cunningham, the guy we talked about before the game for Samford, has yet to score a field goal. It's tough when you're going up against James Robinson. Oh, what a pass, my heavens.
Young to Randall.
Panthers drop back into that 2-3 zone.
Hood has found a sweet spot in that near corner, Dan.
Hood is one of the guys that they were relying on to be a 3-point shooter.
Randall trying to return the favor to Young. It's out of bounds. It'll stay with Pittsburgh.
The Panthers, they've been getting some easy shots based on really fine interior passing on that particular occasion. And Samford has answered from outside. Tyler Hood knocking it down. It is a 5-point game.
ACC Basketball is sponsored by the official corporate champions of the ACC, Toyota, Haviland, and Food Lion.
Great view of the Allegheny River with that skyline of Pittsburgh in the background. Next week on ACC All Access, we'll profile Miami running back Duke Johnson, who's on the verge of leaving his legacy at the U. That's next week on ACC All Access. Check your local listings. What a game by Miami last night in a losing effort to Florida State, which has now won 26 games in a row. ACC football action last night. Those two teams put on a show. ACC basketball season starting to heat up, Dan, and just in time.
Well, really have to be impressed with Samford here. They have hung in the game, and even though they've given up a lot of easy baskets, they're only down by 5 points, and they have a chance to cut into that lead. They have not shot the ball well. They haven't forced turnovers the way they wanted to, but they're still in the game.
Pittsburgh is led by as many as 9 here in the second half. Duker shovels it forward. Basket and foul. It's Michael Young.
That has been the Samford problem the entire game. When they force things on offense, and they got a blocked shot on a forced play, that allows Pitt to get out and run. And you have seen the Panthers can really get up and down the court. This is a great catch in traffic by Young. Very good finish.
Bradley returns for Samford. Hood will leave. He's got 12 points. He leads the way for the Bulldogs. Also 3 3-pointers for Hood. Young cannot complete the three-point play old school style. And he will stay with 12 points in the game for Pittsburgh. 6 in each half so far for Young.
And the Panthers, they're tired of watching Samford shoot those threes. They've gone back to the man-to-man.
Samford as a team last year, 33% from beyond the arc. Shabazz wants one. Hard off the iron. Stays with the Bulldogs. Taylor. They're going to assess that foul to Samford as the fight for the rebound won by Chris Jones.
Shabazz has played very hard every time he's been in the game. And Evan Taylor is another one of those guys who Scott Padgett thinks is pretty versatile. He missed that shot, and Shabazz picked up the foul.
Tough to beat the Panthers in November at the Peterson Event Center. 53-1 is their record in this building during the first month of the schedule. 13th year in this facility for the Panthers. Young getting a little too tight, and he misses.
And this is a beautiful facility.
Opened in the 02-03 season. They started this building when it opened, Dan, with 34 straight home wins to christen it. You hear that Oakland Zoo. That's what they call the student section here at Pittsburgh. Continually supporting their student athletes.
And Icionia has not made one of those threes yet, but he's not very shy about shooting.
He made the block on that play as Pittsburgh tried to get a layup.
I think that's very characteristic of the way the Bulldogs have played. And Icionia missed a shot, but he got back down the court and played defense. So even though they haven't shot the ball necessarily well, that hasn't affected the Bulldogs' play on the defensive end of the court. Cunningham just can't get any room at all.
It'll be an offensive foul against Newkirk after he released the pass. Timeout on the court. Pittsburgh with the lead, 41-34. Playing at the Pitt in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 41-34. Panthers on top of the visiting Bulldogs. Dan, let's check out today's Hardy star to watch. It is Jamel Artis for the Panthers.
And we talked before the game about how the Pitt tradition is sort of next man up kind of thing, that when it's your turn, you shine. And Jamel Artis, you can see what he's done so far this year. He only averaged 4.9 points a game last year, only played 15 minutes a game. So the Panthers expect him to assume a much more prominent role, and here he's doing so very successfully early in the season.
A couple of three-pointers in the first half for Artis, who's gone into double figures with 10 points. Yet to score in the second half. Only made 8 threes last year, already has 2 in this game.
Now what the Bulldogs are hoping is that those drives to the basket will result in some scores when they play teams that don't possess quite the size possessed by Pitt or by Purdue. Just nothing doing inside so far for the Bulldogs.
They've missed their last 6 shots.
And they still only trail by 7.
Tapped out of bounds at the baseline. The officials are going to confer. It's Mike Eads and Gary Prager in a discussion, and it's going to stay at this end of the floor.
And one of the reasons why Samford is still in this game is they continue to play with tremendous intensity on the defensive end. Christian Cunningham, we've documented the fact that he has not scored a basket in this game, and yet he very nearly came up with a steal by playing hard on defense.
Just a couple of free throws so far for Cunningham. Samford's got some big three-point baskets in this half by Tyler Hood. Shot clock running down to the Panthers. Knocked away from Jeter and taken by Bradley.
See, what Samford has to learn to do is on turnover situations like that, they have to get the ball out much more quickly.
Bradley trying to get around Young, and he gets the bounce. Bradley now has 10. Tyler Hood is the leading scorer with 12 for Samford. Michael Young leads the way for Pittsburgh with 12.
It's a 5-point game again.
Jones on the drive and a whistle.
Again, really good ball movement by Pitt. Gets the defense out of position, and then Jones is able to get in there, and Bradley can't get himself in position. And we mentioned it before, Tom. Remember, the officials have been told to change the way they call that block charge on the drive to the basket. Last year, you had to be in position before the player started to bring the ball up in his shooting motion. This year, it's like it was in previous years. You have to be in position before he leaves his feet. That time, nobody got in position at any time, so it was a blocking foul.
Chris Jones now with 4 points. Those were his first free throw attempts of the afternoon.
To be successful, the Panthers are going to need some more offense from Chris Jones.
In his first career start in the win Friday against Niagara here at the Peterson Event Center.
And Jones is likely a guy who's going to be coming off the bench once Cameron Wright is back and available to play.
Shot clock to 4. Samford beats the buzzer. Christian Cunningham, his first field goal, Dan.
And, I mean, you couldn't have worked any harder for that field goal. I mean, he does a great job. I mean, the defense is all over him. Robinson moving, but he keeps working and finally gets it to go. Cunningham picked up a foul trying to deny the inbounds pass. This is a key situation in this game. If Samford can get a stop and knock down a 3, then it suddenly becomes very, very interesting.
Jeter tried to operate down low and a foul. Second on Hood.
Well, you can't keep your hands on a guy down there once he has the ball. You're allowed to put your arm on him in what people refer to as an arm bar until he catches the ball. But once he catches the ball, it's not like the pros. You got to get that arm off or it's a foul.
Young against Bradley.
There's just nothing Bradley can do. If you let Young catch the ball that close to the basket in that kind of position, you can't stop it.
14 points from Michael Young. Had 7 points and 7 rebounds in that win Friday against Niagara. He leads the way with those 14 for the Panthers.
Johnson in the game right now for the Bulldogs. They're counting on him to really help out at that point guard spot.
Robinson, head up. Got it back. Found Young. Power dribble to the rim.
Most impressive thing about that play by Young is how he was so under control. He was in traffic, made sure he didn't charge into anybody. This young man has great hands and a great sense on the inside. Here's the previous play. Great job getting position and quickly shooting the ball. Now here he wades through traffic, gets himself collected, knocks it down. 9-point game. Bird has the Panthers on top 47-38, and Michael Young has been a big reason for that spurt. In the first half, he showed us how he could run, and in the second half, he's been doing a great job taking the ball tough to the basket. This is in traffic, he scores, and then again, catches the ball, and traffic waits for everybody to go by, and then just lays it in. Very strong, very well balanced, very much under control.
And a new career high from Michael Young with those 16 points. Pittsburgh shooting 64% here in the second half, 7 of 11. Samford at 40% in this half, 6 of 15.
And the Panthers going back to the smaller lineup that they've used extensively. Jeter playing that 5 spot, both Ochibo and Randall on the bench.
Shabazz.
Come on.
Locked inside, Sheldon Jeter. Newkirk. Jones got hit. Jones colliding with Darius Jones-Gibson, who will pick up his 3rd personal foul. So we'll take a timeout. When we come back, Chris Jones will be at the free throw line for the Panthers, up 47-38.
ACC basketball is sponsored by Hardee's and your local Ford dealer.
Next week on ACC Gridiron Live, the guys preview the biggest football games of the ACC, including Boston College and Florida State. Plus, Coach Petrino hits the whiteboard to diagram his offensive philosophy as Louisville prepares for Notre Dame. It's on the next ACC Gridiron Live, presented by McAllister's Deli. You want to check your local listings for ACC Gridiron Live.
Panthers extending that lead out again. Remember, it was 5 points a couple of times here in the second half, but Samford only shooting 27% for the game. Only 22% from 3. And if you're going to be a team that comes in here to a place like the Pitt and come away with a win, you're going to have to shoot the ball a little bit better than that.
The largest lead of the ball game for Pittsburgh. Here at the Peterson Event Center, it's been noted, affectionately known as the Pitt. 5 to go on that shot clock for the Bulldogs. Cunningham.
Again, he works really hard, but that's a very impressive looking shot, the pull-up jumper. It's a taller defender, and there he comes up with a steal. And immediately, Jamie Dixon gets James Robinson up off the bench. Just a little too much dribbling on the part of Newkirk out there, and Jamie Dixon knows this game is far from over, and so he puts, I mean, it's almost impossible to press Robinson.
Robinson has 8 assists in the game. Newkirk just picked up his 3rd personal, lost the trip to the bench. He's here with his teammates for the moment.
He's got that thumb taped back there.
With a 3, and he's got 5 points.
That was excellent ball movement that time by the Bulldogs.
Right back at you, Pittsburgh. That's Sheldon Jeter with 8.
When you press, that's the kind of things that you risk. You can't get the steal. Sometimes you give up a lot of easy baskets.
Just over 6 minutes to play in our game. Hood. He's got the range from the corner, Dan Bonner.
And that was a tough shot because I thought Jeter did a nice job closing down.
Hood is now 4 of 8 from 3-point range.
This is a situation where excellent ball movement. That pass by Hood after the penetration was the 4th or 5th pass on that particular sequence. Here we'll get another angle, and Ichionia gets in really good position and knocks it down. But what created that whole situation was really good ball movement for about 3 or 4 passes, forced the defense back inside, and then the drive to the basket by Hood caused the defense to even get closer to the basket, creating a wide open opportunity for an Ichionia.
Hood now has 15 points in the game, Dan. He leads the way for Samford.
Now here Hood he's just ready to shoot it when he catches it, and that's what you have to do if you're going to, particularly if you're a 3-point shooter and you're out there in position, be ready to shoot the ball when you catch it, because Jeter did a good job closing out, but Hood was just ready to go when he caught the ball.
Pittsburgh in the bonus, and Robinson connects on his first 2 free throw attempts of the afternoon, now with 4 points for James Robinson. Taylor lost the handle. It was off of Pittsburgh.
Now Robinson knocked the ball away.
Bradley returns for Samford.
Taylor's a young player, and he looks to me like he's got an awful lot of ability, but he's going to learn you simply can't pound the ball that much. Particularly not against a guy like Robinson.
Cunningham. He ran into Young under the basket.
It's really a good job of being aggressive. Cunningham knows that he's matched up against Young, and so he's, against Artis, and so he's going to take the bigger guy to the basket. And we talked about the ACC. The Southern Conference preseason poll has Samford picked number 10. And actually, the Samford team has posted the number 10 in various places around their locker room, trying to use that pick last in the conference as some motivation.
Some new teams in the Southern Conference this year. Davidson was the team that took out Samford in the SoCon tournament last year. Robinson in transition.
That was a much harder shot than it looked because he had to avoid the charge and stretch out there a little bit, hang in the air to get that one to go.
6 points now for James Robinson. Contact as Young put Taylor on his way by.
The Panthers have done most of their damage in transition. Here, just poor transition defense by Samford. Nobody stops Robinson. He gets into traffic. Nice pass by Newkirk, but Robinson just hangs in the air and is able to make the basket. On the offensive end, Samford is actually picking it up a little bit. They're taking advantage of some mismatches when Pitt is forced to switch. And they've been able to draw some fouls.
Bradley had it spin out, and then it's going to be offensive goaltending as Evan Taylor was up on the rim after the Bradley shot.
Yeah, that's a tough break because Bradley looks like he has the basket. I think he anticipated more pressure than he got. Didn't need to be that strong. That ball was clearly on the rim. You can't touch it when it's sitting up on the rim like that.
7-point difference.
And here's an interesting little number. The Samford Bulldogs are a team that's trying to get up and down and score in transition, but the official statistics here in the arena list the fast break points as Pitt 22, Samford nothing.
And yet the Bulldogs are hanging around. And a chance to cut into the Pittsburgh lead. For the Panthers has been as big as 11 here in the second half. Bradley on the block. Backing his way to the travel.
You can't wait that long. As a big man, you've got to catch the ball and make your move in there. It was another mismatch. He's being guarded by James Robinson inside, and his teammates help Robinson pretty well, and that's advantage Robinson. If you can get the big guy to step away from the basket and start dribbling, something good is going to happen for Pitt, and it did there as Bradley walked. Panthers now with a three-guard lineup in there as Newkirk, Jones, and Robinson all playing at the same time.
Second effort, Artis. Now Young. It's 18 points from Michael Young.
He's having himself a game.
A career day. That's a career high in points for Young.
About his longest shot has been 4 inches.
Under 3.5 minutes to go. Hood pumps up a three.
That's going to get Jamie Dixon getting a player up off the bench. What he's going to ask Jamel Artis is, hey, that guy's already made 4 threes. We think he can shoot it from out there. I want you to come guard him.
Tyler Hood, his 5th three-pointer of the game, and now 18 points for Tyler Hood, the senior from Tennessee.
You just have to know where he is. You can't play that far off of him, and when he catches the ball, you got to get up on him, and at least today make him drive because he's been dynamite from out there.
5 of 9 in the game, and that ties his career high for three-pointers made in a game. Picked quite a day to do it on the road against Pittsburgh out of the ACC.
Helping to keep Samford in this ball game.
Samford trailed by 8 at halftime. Was trailed by as many as 11 in the second half. But Jamie Dixon's team right now with just a 6-point lead over the Bulldogs.
Well, every time it seems as if Pitt is going to break away in this game, Samford makes a three. Pitt misses a couple of free throws, and Samford comes down and makes another three. So the Bulldogs are doing a great job hanging around. Now they're in a situation where they only have to play this pressing style for 3 minutes and 17 seconds. They can try to ratchet up the pressure, see if they can force a couple of turnovers.
7 made threes in the game for Samford. Newkirk. Young.
That's a timeout called by Jamie Dixon. He's very happy with the way the play ended. He wasn't happy with the way it began because Samford very nearly came up with a turnover. Taylor made a very nice play to knock the ball away, but Newkirk is able to come up with it, and then Pitt continues to attack. Once again, we talked about their domination of the fast break points. Well, here are another 2 points in the fast break variety.
Michael Young, Dan, is a local guy from Duquesne, Pennsylvania, and he's put up his career high today, 20 points. But as you mentioned, most of those shots are the very high percentage variety, including that last layup.
And he's gotten a lot of them running in transition. We talked about the fast break points. Right now it's Pitt 24, Samford nothing, and that's obviously been a key to the game. But Pitt, I think, was very fortunate on that play. They almost turned the ball over. And that's why Jamie Dixon called the timeout. He wants them to be much stronger once they catch the ball and much better with their passes. He's been quite a factor, Young, boy.
10 points in the second half from Michael Young, 6'9" sophomore. Cunningham. Locked on his way to the rim. Great hustle by Sheldon Jeter to recover and make the play on Cunningham.
Gives you an idea of the athleticism and versatility possessed by Jeter. He can guard the point guard. When the point guard does get by him, he's long enough and athletic enough that he can block the shot. Samford using the zone again.
Shot clock to 5. Jones. Cunningham comes away with it for Samford. An 8-point game, Dan. Just over 2 minutes to go. The first ever meeting between Pittsburgh and Samford on the basketball court. And a foul against the Panthers.
And that's only team foul number 6. So no shots.
59-51, the lead for Jamie Dixon at Pittsburgh. in Pittsburgh, a look at Heinz Field, which will be vacant this weekend, a Monday night game for the Steelers on the road in Tennessee. Our Hyundai game summary, Dan, 59-51 with just about 2 minutes to play in this one.
That's the key number right there, the fast break points that the Panthers have dominated. In fact, they've dominated on the inside, 36 points inside for the Panthers versus 12 for Samford.
Rebounding close, though, Dan. 30-29, the lead in rebounds is for Samford at this moment.
Now, Samford doesn't have to be in a giant hurry, but they can't be taking this much time. They're 8 points down. The clock is under 2 minutes.
Darius Jones-Gibson with the foul after his miss.
And I want to correct myself. I said with that last Pitt foul, it was their 16th foul. It was only their 5th. So the Panthers actually still have another foul to give here if that becomes an issue. And that's not a bad foul by Samford. They need to get the ball back. Although Jones has made all 4 of his previous free throw attempts today.
They've all come in the second half. 6 points for Chris Jones, the sophomore from Teaneck, New Jersey. Shot 80% from the line last season for the Panthers.
He made a mistake there, committing the foul. But again, it's only team foul number 6. 3rd foul on Jones.
Give a lot of credit to all of the student athletes involved in our game this afternoon. Tremendous effort by the Panthers and the Bulldogs. And it's close late with 1:23 to go in our game. So glad that you have joined us. With basketball in the Atlantic Coast Conference. What a drive by Jones-Gibson.
That's his first field goal of the game. And they are certainly going to need more offensive production from him as the season goes on. And they call that an offensive foul. And Jones-Gibson again being guarded by a bigger man. Pitt has been switching outside, so the bigger guys have been guarding the guards, taking advantage that time. And that's a situation where I think last year that's a blocking foul, but this year that's a charging foul because the defender was in position before Jeter left the court.
Keep your eyes on number 35 in blue, Dan. Tyler Hood has 5 made threes in this game. Cunningham will try to get a layup. Second effort off the rim, and Young corrals it for Pittsburgh.
I think you got to get a really quick foul or turnover. That'll help. Walking violation. And Scott Padgett is going to call a timeout here. This is an interesting situation in this game. Pitt is only up by 6. And particularly if Scott Padgett can drop something and gets a quick 3, then the game becomes suddenly much more competitive than Jamie Dixon would desire at this point.
Well, technically, Dan, this game is part of the Maui Invitational. For Pittsburgh, it will travel to Hawaii. They have a game at Hawaii on Friday, but Wednesday they will get there, practice on Thursday. That Hawaii game, not part of the Maui Invitational. Those subsequent games will be.
Well, if you're going to go out there, why not play another game? Yeah, Chaminade is their opening game in the Maui Invitational, and then obviously they'll play the winner of San Diego State and BYU. That's a good Maui field this year. And then that December 2nd game is part of the ACC Big Ten Challenge.
There you see our situation. Both teams in the bonus currently.
Well, the interesting thing is that the last time we saw Pitt at the free throw line, Chris Jones missed a 1-and-1, and the next foul by Samford will be the double bonus. The possession arrow is in favor of Samford. Really impressed with the way Samford has continued to battle, even when things did not go well for them. They're shooting well over 40%, about 45% here in the second half after only shooting 22% in the first half. But they have not backed off.
32% shooting in the game for the Samford Bulldogs.
So you got to score quickly here. 2 or 3, you need something fast.
Final 30 seconds. Hood got it out of the corner, Dan. His 6th make 3 of the game.
I just think in this game, you can't help off Hood.
A 3-point game, the lead for the Panthers. A foul with 22.7 seconds to go.
Now this is a situation on this basket here. Watch the drive to the basket. Robinson helps to try to stop the dribbler, and in that situation, I think that's the wrong play. Make that guy go all the way to the basket and get a 2. Don't drop off the guy who's been unbelievably hot from 3-point range.
Samford as a team in this half, 7 of 12 from long distance. 5 of those belong to Tyler Hood. Artis is at the free throw line. Has not scored in the second half until now. Who in this building, Dan, thought that Pittsburgh would have to make some clutch free throws at the end of the game to put it away against Scott Padgett and the visiting Bulldogs?
Particularly in a situation where Pitt has not handled the ball badly. They've only turned it over 9 times. So if you're going to protect the ball that well against a team that wants to press and run.
Knocked away by Young. And now just 10 seconds to go. Robinson trying to dribble out that clock, and a foul by Jones Gibson. That is his 5th. Just a reminder, coming up later tonight, the defending ACC champs, number 9 Virginia against Norfolk State. Tip-off 7 Eastern. Check your local listings right here on your regional sports network. So Jamie Dixon about 5.5 seconds away from his 290th career victory as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Panthers, second most in school history. Robinson hasn't missed from the line. 3 for 3 and 7 points. Samford made it a 3-point game late in the second half. But in the end, it will be the Panthers coming away with a well-earned win. 63-56, the final count, Dan Bonner. But Scott Padgett's team played very well on the road here in Pittsburgh.
It's a very interesting game. I do not think the Pitt Panthers played poorly. They made some mistakes, I think, on the defensive end in not covering the 3, particularly in the second half. But I think overall it was a pretty solid performance by the Panthers, which makes the Samford's performance even more impressive.
Michael Young led the way with 16 points. 63-56 for Dan Bonner. I'm Tom Wormy. So long from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.